Hello, I'm Rob Thomas with Club and Resort Business. Welcome to another episode of Club and Resort Talks podcast. Today's podcast is sponsored by C2 Limited Design Associates. C2 Limited is an award-winning private club and resort design practice led by founding partners and co-creative directors Craig J. Smith and Christina H. Roman. Smith and Roman have created a signature niche in the worlds of luxury golf, resort, and exclusive private club design, and their bespoke approach to design uniquely tailored to each client and their story. Learn more at c2limited.com. With that out of the way, let's introduce you to Phil Karen. Phil, how's it going?
I'm doing great, Rob. How are you?
Hey, no complaints, no complaints. The summer sprung, so we're here.
Yes. Nice to have summer here, finally. For
Yeah, no
sure.
kidding. Hey, with that, we're getting a lot of interesting topics coming up on clubresortbusiness.com and in our daily newsletter. Can you share a few stories with us?
Sure. Happy to. There were some interesting ones this week, particularly. One, let's see, on East Coast, Kings Creek Country Club in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, they have introduced autonomous mowers for their golf course maintenance. So that's the company that's Husqvarna, the 550H EPOS autonomous mowers for golf course maintenance. They can be controlled with a smart device. So obviously they're eliminating the need for manual labor, at least in that area. Reduce maintenance time, of course. They have GPS technology and sensors, allows them to navigate the golf course and make sure every inch of the course looks great. I also thought it was interesting to point out, we've talked a lot, Rob, on the podcast about being environmentally conscious and sustainability. The robotic motors help with that because they lowers carbon emissions and also reduces noise pollution, of course, too. Much quieter than a gas-operated mower. And those mowers, yes, they do operate on electric power, so obviously it's also eco-friendly there too. So I just want to tip my hat to Kings Creek Country Club for doing that. I do recall last year at the GCSAA conference, there was a company there with autonomous mowers, and I had a nice conversation with them. I know it wasn't the same company, but thought it was a great idea, and I'm sure we're going to see more clubs doing this.
Yeah, it's getting big. I know we've talked a lot with Josh Tubbs at Toro and my buddy Darius at John Deere. It's coming. So now this is like maybe a little dip your toe in it, but autonomous mowers. We've seen a lot of autonomous ball pickers already. I think that's a little safer. People with the autonomous mowers, considering there's blades going and you got a lot of stuff happening. They still have to be, supervised. You
Right.
can't just send off some robot to wreak havoc on the earth without having somebody there. But it's a big step in the right direction.
Yeah, for sure. But it's an interesting point you make with that, Rob, because like you said, obviously it would still need to be it still needs to be supervised by a human being, if you will. So I'm sure it does reduce labor costs somewhat, but obviously not entirely in that area. Because again, somebody still needs to be making sure the mower is not wreaking havoc, right?
Yeah, certainly.
There you go. Well, also another story, another interesting one from Tennessee, Fairfield Glade Resort last year hired Bobby Jones Links to help them manage their food and beverage operations, particularly with their restaurant there, Fairfield's restaurant, Stonehenge Grill. They were, Bruce Cox, a board member of Fairfield Glade, said Bobby Jones Links was hired to, one, improve the financial performance of the grill, and secondly, probably most importantly, improve the members' experience. This was an interesting quote because I don't often find in these stories that people are quite so direct and blunt about a shortcoming, I guess, of what happening at a club or resort. But Bruce Cox said, we did a survey before Bobby Jones Links got here, and a lot of people said they'd been to Stonehenge, didn't like it, and had no intention of coming back. So they hired Bobby Jones Links to do this work, and Mike Nolan with Bobby Jones Links said they did their homework on it. As far as the menu, they kept, of course, the most popular items, added some new options, rotation of specials. Also, I think this was a great idea, and I'm sure a lot of clubs already do this, and probably should, and others who haven't done it should think about it. They employed a seasonal menu, so they can have in-season ingredients, and obviously the menu options, the food they're offering is very fresh. So, and then on the customer service side, employees did a customer journey, they call it, to, I guess it's an exercise to help employees anticipate a customer's expectations. And so they're able to do that and obviously be more effective with customer service. And the results have been great so far. They've seen a surge in patrons at Stonehenge Grill, and food and beverage income at the venues has risen by 28%. So hats off to them to Fairfield Glade Resort for realizing they had an issue with that, and it sounds like they're well on their way to having a lot of happy members and guests at the resort.
I'm guessing that 28% is going to continue to rise once those
Hmm.
people get word that food is no longer so offensive there. I mean, growing up, it was a hot dog, a bag of Funyuns, and maybe a Snickers bar at
Hmm.
these restaurants. And now you got people really golf courses catering to foodies.
Yes.
And this is more, I would imagine, post round dinner, stick around the golf course. You don't want to, you know, have make you a chicken cutlet or something like that while you're waiting at the turn. But yeah, good for them, and congratulations to the uptick in dining.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's great. Uh, and yeah, I think obviously yes. Again, I'm sure it's something more in terms of dining after a round, if you will. I did want to share this story too, Rob, real quick, just to go down memory lane for myself here. My family and we took a vacation in the 1980s. I can't quite grab the year anymore, but my sister and I were both interested in golf. I think we were both early teenagers, and we took a family trip and we were at Fairfield Glade Resort. And I do recall playing at Stonehenge Golf Club with my dad. That day, for some reason, was just dad and I playing. And great story from it. My dad always had difficulty finding the fairway golfing. Okay. So one of the times I actually didn't see this. My dad relayed the story and he likes telling the story. Dad got in the woods. He's hitting a shot out of the woods. We were playing with two gentlemen. One of the gentlemen was close to dad, close by, because I think his shot must have been nearby. Dad's in the woods. He's trying to get back out in the fairway, hits a shot, ball hits the tree, ricochets back and hits him right in the shin. And then the guy with him just bent over and started laughing. He apologized to my dad. He said, "I'm sorry, but that's one of the funniest things I've ever seen." So just had to share that story from
Oh,
Stonehenge.
man, poor Dr. Karen. Hopefully that
Yeah.
didn't leave too much of a bruise on his shin.
Yes. Glad, of course, it just hit him in the shin. Could have been obviously a lot worse, but yes.
Yeah, how was
Um,
the food?
and it's funny you mentioned that. It's funny we were just talking about the eating after the round. I actually have a memory, and this is I don't know if this still happens a whole lot or not. I actually have a memory of us after 9 at the turn. We actually went in, sat down at a sit down restaurant there and had a lunch, and sat there for like hour and a half, and obviously much bunch of groups must have passed us up. I think we were there with, we were playing with the two gentlemen who I'm guessing were locals, so they kind of took the lead on stuff. They're like, "Hey, we're going to have lunch," and like dad's like, "Sure, we'll go and join you." And I mean, we're already playing with them anyways, right? So
Yeah.
the food itself, I don't remember, to be honest, but I remember it being a nice restaurant, and it's probably the only time I've ever had a sit down meal at the turn of a golf course, right?
I think now, I mean, things have changed obviously, but I think
Yeah,
that's kind of frowned upon now because
right,
you throw off the flow
exactly.
of tee times and the separation of clubs or groups. But back in the 1980s, maybe it wasn't that many people on the golf course. That was pre-Tiger Boom. So,
Yeah,
hopefully you enjoyed your meal. I'm
I
sure you
did.
enjoyed your time with your dad and
I
those
did.
two locals.
We had the fun story with it, of course, too, as well, which dad enjoys telling. Yes. Um, let's see, making our way back to the East Coast again. Wyndham Golf Course in North Wyndham, Connecticut, is well. They're just as we're doing this podcast, they're about to reopen with a upgraded practice range that has 16 bays with power tee, automatic tee boxes, as well as the top tracer technology. A gentleman named Tim DeVivo bought the course 2 years ago. Course itself, I guess, had fallen on challenging times. And after he made the purchase, DeVivo said, "Hey, I noticed they don't have a driving range here." And he mentioned in the story that he had been to Top Golf and a few of the other entertainment type driving ranges that offer food and beverage, and thought this could work well in their community. So in addition to having those bays built with the power tee boxes and the top tracer technology, concession stand was built next to the range. The whole process took about 20 months. And he's, of course, hoping with that golfers go through the buckets quicker and then want to buy another one and maybe enjoy some food and beverage offerings along the way. And he had an interesting quote, Rob, in the story where he talked about, the fact that people look at driving ranges now as a form of entertainment. He said, "quote It's a different mindset with the younger generation, and almost differentiates between the traditional game of golf. A lot of people don't have 5 hours to play 18 holes, but they're going to have a couple hours to hang out with friends, hit a few balls, and maybe have a drink or two and a hamburger." So we'll see how that works out for him. I tend to think, well, based on what we've watched over the last couple of years, I would think that should do quite well, and especially if the course was on challenging times, this might be a way to uh, kickstart their success again.
Yeah, good luck there. The gamification of golf continues, and
Mhm.
anything that can bring more people to the facility, even if it's just one bucket of balls and a Diet Coke, whatever. It's just revenue you would not have seen if it's two buckets of balls, a cheeseburger, and a couple beers, whatever. That's
Right.
fantastic, right? That's I mean, exponentially better than it was. So good on them, and fingers crossed. We'll have to maybe revisit this in a year or two to see how it's gone.
Yeah, I think that would be a good idea to see that happening, and it would be interesting to hear from other clubs who or golf courses that don't have ranges yet if they're thinking about employing a similar approach rather than the old-fashioned driving range that you and I remember from the 80s and 90s.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Hey, that's a good segue into our guest, Keith
mhm.
Scioli, who's the founder of Golf Live. Driving range. He was on the driving range before a family tournament, and he developed a case of the I shouldn't say this word, but the case of the shanks. And
Ooh,
he was thinking, man, it's Friday night, 8 o'clock. There's no way I can get an instructor out here. So that kind of started the wheels turning. How can this happen? It's like late 2018 or so, I think it was 19. He talks all about the process, but basically what came of that is an app, and GMs, directors of golf instructors are going to be interested in this because they can directly communicate with their members, their golfers. They can record their swing, and in real time, you can the instructor can draw on the screen, give you feedback. Everything's done right through the app. Payment, billing, all this stuff has gone fantastic. It's just kind of on the early stages. COVID set him back a little bit. I know that he talked about going out, reaching out to like 200 pros, and he got responses from two. One of the pros in the New England area said, "Hey, I don't know what you guys are talking about, but it sounded interesting. Interesting. Count me in." And once COVID hit, all of a sudden these emails started coming back. "Hey, did you ever develop that app?" Well, yes. Keith Scioli, in fact, did develop the app. It's Golf Live. We talk about it, all kinds of information. So please stick around, learn more about Golf Live, and connect with Keith. And I mean, just another thing, raise that revenue. Keep bringing more golfers, help your members, help your bottom line as well. So stick around. Keith Scioli's coming right up. Hello, I'm back with we have our special guest here today, Keith Scioli. Keith, you are the founder of Golf Live. Welcome to the show, and please tell us a little bit about Golf Live. If the elevator pitch would be fantastic.
Awesome. Well, first off, thank you for having me. Really appreciate it and excited to talk today. So, Golf Live is, we started as a live virtual golf instruction tool, and it's really evolved into much more of an all-encompassing business management tool for coaches because of all of the tools and features that we have embedded inside of the platform when it comes to virtual lessons, in-person lessons, async lessons, payment processing, scheduling, the entire ecosystem. It's really a first, product of its kind to be able to manage a coach's business from A to Z, including content and live streaming and getting out to the masses and being able to host that paid content on your profile. So we've got it all. And from a coach's perspective, it's a business management tool, and from a golfer's perspective, it's the ability to have a convenient golf lesson experience that really anybody can have access to. And it's not just, a Wednesday at 2 p.m. lesson for a young professional that, has a corporate job and a family, right? That really doesn't pertain to. So trying to really match all parties and being able to grant access to the game in an easier manner.
That's terrific. The Marvel universe has taught us origin stories, right? So what is your origin story? What inspired you to create Golf Live?
Well, the person that I just now talked about was actually myself. So I was in corporate America for about 9 years, and married with kids, and so getting a golf lesson was rather difficult for myself, and being able to prioritize that. But I'm obsessed with the game of golf, and there's a bigger story behind that as far as why I'm obsessed with the game of golf. In regards to my little brother that passed away, but golf, I believe, is a very therapeutic and really healthy for the soul and for the mind. And so that the game of golf I'm addicted to. I love it, and it's my happy place. And so being able to excel at the game of golf was becoming very difficult as a young professional, and really a lot of people that I spoke to. And so I just went out and 1 o'clock, or not 1 o'clock, at 8 o'clock at night, one night I was hitting balls on a range at this light up range, and I developed the shanks, and I'm not allowed to say that word, but I did, right before my family's competitive tournament. And so it was a really bad deal. And I just thought to myself, how in the world, in the year, this was late 2019, is there not somebody that's available to help me right now, fix this really fast? And so I just went out and built the product for it.
What the road to success is not a straight line, right? There's a lot of twists and turns, bumps along the way. Can you explain some of the challenges maybe you faced early on and throughout the process?
Yeah, one of my mentors really early into this told me, and it's been the most true thing I've heard, is that um, we enjoy the journey, because if your goal is only set on the destination, you're never going to make it. You're going to get punched in the face 9 times out of 10. And that destination is actually changing as you evolve. And so you have to really be obsessed and passionate about what you do on a daily basis, because there are more challenges than I could possibly explain on this podcast. And it's the hardest thing that I've ever done in my life. Yet here we are, and it's just one stepping stone at a time, and I'm absolutely loving it. When we first started this, I thought it was going to be like the Uber of golf lessons, where there's golfers all over the world that would love to have a quick tip, right? And it's really turned into more of a business management tool for golf coaches, right? And so it's and then a B2B side where we're in commercial towers. And so there's you're constantly evolving and figuring out where you best fit in, and also what products are really needed out there. And so I would say that that point of, you've got to be obsessed with what you're doing every day and really think about the customer, right? And not just the customer, but all these coaches that we serve, and the golfers. What do they need, and what do they want? And so that is constantly changing.
So, like anything, when I don't want to say cold call, because you're not a salesman, you are a tech innovator. But when you send this out into the universe, talking to PGA professionals, the success rate's not always high as far as getting responses. And I imagine that you've experienced that. But what were some of the responses you got from the PGA professionals out there?
Well, when we first start, I'm going to talk about when we first started for 30 seconds, and then where we are today for the last 30 seconds. But the funny story is, when we first started this, and I had this idea in my mind of getting a virtual lesson with live replay and whatnot, this was in 2019, before COVID hit. So I sent out an email to about 200 golf professionals on the PGA, list there, and I got 2 responses back, and that's it. And one of them, he's actually still with us today, that said, "I think you're crazy, and I have no idea what you're talking about, but I'm excited to learn because this sounds cool." And so this is way before, really learning virtual live in a live setting in golf. And then COVID hit. And then immediately after that, it was, getting emails from people saying, "Hey, did you ever build that internet coaching thing?" Right. So COVID really ramped that up. But the success rate today is, hey, when you're coaching, whether you're at the club or whether you're at a facility, are you charging people in this location, scheduling them in this location, conducting the lesson in this location, and then storing all of their data, videos in this location, and then calling and texting them in this location? I just listed 5 platforms that you're most likely using and different apps for every single one of them for your coaching business. And that's a lot on your students too. It's all in different places and on your personal phone. As far as your own camera roll being, filled up with videos and whatnot. So we were able to put all 5 of those, really 6, 7 of those in one place. And you and your students can communicate and have the entire ecosystem of from A to Z of a golf lesson experience in one place. And that normally gets people, especially coaches and GMs at clubs and whatnot, to say, hold on a second, tell me more.
I know you'd mentioned COVID, huge, right? It's been massive. It's been a good uptick for the golf industry as a whole. But talk a little bit about the changes that COVID brought. Maybe 2019 when you got the first idea, sitting there on the range at 8 o'clock at night. So a lot has changed. Take us through the steps that maybe you've seen in the industry.
Yeah, I think that post-COVID, the ability to have multiple touch points with a coach, okay, not just your hour-long session on a range with them in person, has really shown that you can be even much more effective, to be quite honest with you, with a 15-minute virtual touch point call, whether it be live or async with your coach, than potentially a 2-hour in-person lesson with them, right? If you're having those sessions multiple times a week and throughout the month, and 1, it's more convenient, but 2, it allows, and one of our partners, Chris Como, he'll tell you, there are times that I would much rather talk to somebody for 10 minutes and then let them be on their way than have them come in for an hour and sit here and go through the same thing over and over and over again, right? So I think that there's COVID really forced us to at least somewhat accept a virtual coaching type of option, but now that's actually integrated into the entire process of sending videos back and forth and capturing those videos, capturing that data, but then also being able to have live dialogue while reviewing that data. And then you can be, in different countries going over the exact same data as if you're standing next to each other. And so that wasn't as wildly accepted as the 198 people didn't even respond to me initially, would tell you. And so now, even really specifically kids too, are so easily adaptable when it comes to, oh yeah, I can just get on a video call and I'm going to get the same exact reps in, same exact process in for 10 minutes in the backyard while my mom's cooking dinner, as if, she were to drive me across town to actually take that lesson. And now the coach is doing that lesson from the inside of their AC in their office, right? So I'm not saying it's the all and be all, you need to be in person at times, but to have those touch points on a consistent basis and have it organized, I think the industry started to accept, whereas prior to that, it wasn't really accepted as much.
Yeah, no, I totally agree wholeheartedly with that one. From point A to where we are today. I don't want to say Z because everything's evolving, obviously, but what has some conversation with professionals taken your initial idea and maybe kind of molded it to what we see today on the app?
Yeah. You're saying, what have they helped us build, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Because, I'm sure they've had a lot of their own ideas. This would be great.
Oh, I'm not a golf coach, right? I was the golfer, and, Alan Belden, former, president of the New England PGA, has really, really helped us when it comes to a coach's perspective. But if you go look at our emails that we send out our coaches, I mean every single word. That is not a marketing team that's sending that out. Most of the time, it is me asking for their feedback, and I get on personal calls with them, and so does our team. We get on calls and hear what their feedback is, because we are here not just to give you a software and send you on your way. We actually are here to help you build out your business on a day-to-day basis. And so our coaches will be calling us every single day as if we're like their agent, right? And so because we want to work directly with them. So yes, their feedback, this has been built for coaches and by coaches. We did not have the scheduling right. We did not have side by side built into, a live call. The ability to have things organized in a different location and be able to go and grab and pull. There have been every step of the way, our drawing tools. If you go look at our drawing tools from 2020 to today, it looks like a preschooler, drawing to, now a architect in college, right? So it's been completely our very patient coaches that really hung with us at the beginning saying, hey, this isn't quite there, but this is something. Let's mold it into this. And that has been 100% their feedback going directly to our tech team. And it still is today.
On feedback, before I get you out of here, what have you heard from maybe the golf professionals, the general managers, about the benefits that they're seeing, that their members are seeing it, but maybe at their bottom line as well? I'm sure membership enjoys it, but also we're seeing an increase in revenue. We're seeing more people actively involved at the club when they're not necessarily at the club, right?
That's exactly right. Especially, one that, on your one-on-one lessons and communication with the coach, you're more drawn to come back eventually, right? If you're consistently meeting with them, even virtually. And so the clubs love that for sure. The other piece of that is the live streaming that we have, right? That just because they're not at the club, they can actually still engage with the club through the live streaming piece and through the content piece. And so our live streaming is different in the fact that we actually have our live replay embedded into the live stream. So the coach can perform like a TV-like production for the members, and it's all there at the club. And so you can bring in pretty fascinating individuals that might not be at the club, but the club is putting on that live streaming and putting on a really effective, not just entertaining, but also a educational live stream that all the members can then engage with. And so now you have your community coming together on one call and on one lesson. And so it really builds a lot of great rapport.
It's all done through a smartphone, iPad. You can sit there and I've got several iPhones, so I can just go there, log on, get the app, and talk directly to my pro, huh?
That is exactly right. And so from it's iPhone and Android, iPad and tablets. And so from a coach's perspective, we do vet coaches, and we don't let just anybody on, and we don't charge a subscription to our coaches. It's a different structure that we go through as far as, a commission on transactions. And so we also work with clubs on that, where, hey, you're used to just, hey, put this on the club's tab. Well, now if their student is enrolled into a coach's subscription, right, then we can actually, pay the club how they were used to getting paid, and just make it a better process for those members instead of it just going on their bill. So there's a lot of different ways we go about things, but yes, you're exactly right. It's all from your phone, and really, really easy for people to, while they're at work, throw up their phone and watch a live stream at the club, going on. So a lot of fun.
Easy peasy. Finding value in your membership, general manager, they love to hear that, right? They want their members to enjoy what they're doing, and also say, hey, this is why I'm a member at this particular club. But let's get you out on this one. I want you to take your crystal ball out, please. 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, where do you see Golf Live going?
Yeah, it's a great question. We're currently working on some projects that actually integrate us into simulators as well. And so whenever you get on some simulators, you're actually going to be able to have your coach on that screen too, not just the data, right? And so we're going to be powering a lot of that. And I really firmly believe that Golf Live will be the #1 platform for golf coaches managing their business from A to Z, and being able to have every single tool you could possibly imagine embedded into the platform, so that do you want to send a text message? Do you want to get a payment? Do you want to get on a live call? We have on-demand calling already, where you just click a button and it calls them immediately, just like a FaceTime call. So being able to have all communication, all transactions, all data, all storage, all in one place, we've already built a lot of that, and now it's about educating the golf professionals and the clubs that we have this available. And so I think 5 years from now, we will be integrated into most all tools that are out there and be able to be the #1 golf business management software on the planet.
So when holograms are all the rage, you're going to be there. You'll have a hologram of your golf pro right next to you. Huh?
There you go. That's I'll
Beautiful.
get our tech team on that one.
Love it. Love it. I always think of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope, or whatever. If you could, real quick, tell us how we can get a hold of you. Tell us how people, pros, golfers, can access the app. Go on and so.
Absolutely. So if you go and download the Golf Live app in the App Store, search Golf Live app or Golf Live Corp, it'll come up. And you, as a coach, you can actually start filling out the application, and that'll come to us. Or reach out via email, contact@golfliveapp.com, and we're very responsive to that email. If you're a golfer looking for a coach or want to get your coach on, reach out to that same email, or just download the app and get in there today. It's free to download. It's free to create a profile. So and go check it out yourself. And then, email us at contact@golfliveapp.com. You can also find us on Instagram and Facebook, Golf Live App. And we're very responsive, and we've got a full team here for coaches that are ready to help market you and help get this ingrained in your business and at your clubs.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Keith. Thank you for joining us. And everybody, hey, learn more about Golf Live.
I really appreciate it. Thank you for having me today.